Today we are talking about roommates. Listen, I've been in situations where I've had to have roommates and I've had no horror stories. Everyone's been an absolute blessing. Luckily, when I lived in London, I was always sharing with friends, not actually in a room, in a whole house. You know, I always had my own room. Even when I worked for Disney and I was put with a complete stranger, it was a great match. We didn't work together, but we lived very well together. It was great. But I know that wasn't the case for everyone. I know people have some horrendous stories. So this is EK, and her stories about her roommate and general NYC living situations, New York City, I can imagine it's so expensive, were going super viral, right? I think her series had nearly 40 videos talking about it at one point. Okay, so let's listen to what they have to say.
I love how this has become like our official meeting place now for me to give you updates about my roommate situation. If you're not aware of what's been going on, I was informed by my roommate last month, so at the end of May, that she did not want to resign together. I made videos about it, changed her mind and said that she would leave instead and I would be the one to stay. A week and a half goes by and she tells me that she actually is going to stay instead, and naturally we weren't going to resign together. And I was like, what the fuck? I spent all of last week calling 311, the tenant hotline, trying to get in contact with my landlord because I could not get a hold of them until I finally spoke with them. And they said they had no idea what was going on either, that she had not returned their calls or emails. Yesterday, I received news that she is in fact leaving, and I was given 24 hours to find a new roommate in order to keep the apartment under my name. And
why is that her responsibility though? Why is that their responsibility though? Is that not the landlord's responsibility to make sure that there's enough people to pay rent?
Well, I don't have updates for you yet. I should be finding out some stuff by tomorrow. This has been one of the worst situations I've dealt with since moving to New York, if not the worst, because it has involved someone who has been back and forth on their word, having landlords who have not been communicating with me the way that they should until the last minute, and then putting me on an equally tight timeline to figure shit out. And you know what? I look at all of this and I'm like, the birds are still chirping. I still got to go on my morning walk and smell the flowers and touch the trees and the leaves the way that I normally do. I've reconnected with an old friend who has been a huge emotional support for me through this entire process. Whenever people have been like, maybe you should just leave and come back, I hear you. There have been so many times I've sat here and just been like, this may be finally it, that I have to leave and I don't know when I'll come back. On date.
Something about living in a big city is like, why am I torturing myself? Why do I love living here when it's nothing but torture, right? Why am I poor? Why is all my money going towards rent? Why am I not being paid enough? Why is my travel $1 million a month? I get it. Sometimes it's like, you know what? I should leave. So this is a very awkward situation.
I would really struggle, or I felt depressed and sad if I had lost my job, or if I was working a job that I hated, I would think of New York. I specifically think of myself standing on the Brooklyn Bridge and watching the sunset, because that is one of my favorite places to stand. No one has to understand my love for New York. No one has to understand why I continue to stay. It's okay if it doesn't make sense to you. New York is home.
Sure.
That's why I keep fighting for it. I'll never forget the fact that my ex used to say that he thought that I was a weak person. Whenever I would ask him if he thought that I was resilient, he could never give me a straight answer. When in truth, I've always been really good at sitting with my emotions and doing my best to transmute that. I've earned my badge of honor of being resilient in the face of what feels like absolutely impossible fucking circumstances. No one can take that away from me. And as I move through the next couple of weeks, I know that energy is going to carry me. I know I belong in New York. New York is home. I'm not going anywhere. I'm so fucking proud of myself. We're not quite out of the woods yet, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. I see it. And so I'm going to hold on for a little bit longer. I'm going to stay another day because we have more sunsets to see. Maybe tonight is going to be an absolutely fantastic sunset. And if not tonight, maybe tomorrow. Please don't forget how resilient and powerful you actually are. Be kind to both yourself and other people. I will see you tomorrow, okay? All right, motherfuckers. It's windy as fuck. It seems to fit my mood right now. Got updates for you about my fuck-ass roommate situation living in New York City. So please just go back and watch the other videos. I don't have the energy to re-explain. Been waiting to hear.
Okay, let me just read. Okay, so she lives with a roommate who was like, you're moving out, I'm moving out, one of us is moving out, one of us is staying. That's basically the situation. Turns out her roommate was like, oh no, actually, I'm going to leave. So then her landlord was like to our guest here, was like, oh, you have 24 hours to find a new roommate, otherwise Everyone has to go, which I think is really strange.
For my landlord now for the last 48 hours because they were like, you need to find a roommate in less than 24 hours or you need to find
Yeah,
a personal
that's crazy.
guarantor in order for you to keep the place for yourself. And I'm like, you didn't even let me know 2 weeks ago if I was going to be able to stay or not. And I've just been sitting here emailing y'all every day trying to get a response on things. And now y'all want to be rushed. And so I did the impossible. I found a roommate in less than 24 hours. I interviewed one person through FaceTime.
Okay, so sorry, nothing to do with your story. I have two things to say. The microphone like this, I know it's very windy, you can hear the wind a lot, but actually if it was closer, clipped to your body, that would be lessened, and we wouldn't also get the because it's a lavalier mic, it's made to clip to you. Also, sorry, if you're watching this, just as a personal note, I'm a professional makeup artist. Your foundation is too yellow and it's giving you a green jaw. Just you go a little bit more neutral, a little bit more pink.
And just trusted my gut. She seems great and really sweet. I actually really like her. She's into miniatures and it's a whole thing. So we submitted all of her stuff. What was it, Monday night? Hear from them today. Hi, please make sure you submit your application. And I was like, the application fee is $100. It's supposed to be $25 in New York City. Good thing I know that. She submitted her stuff and they were like, okay, we need you to resubmit. I was like, why? I submitted 2 months ago and y'all approved me. So I submit and they're now like, you guys make under the income that you need. And I'm like, what the fuck do you mean? I did the math. We make over the amount. Also, I've been here for 2 months and I've been paying rent on time. That should amount for something.
Yeah, that should be like, why is she resubmitting for this whole... here's what... Okay, so in London, right? You can rent out the rooms. So like, okay, your roommate's gone, another roommate's gonna come in. It's up to them to make their money. You don't all get together and decide, like, it's rent by room. So is she saying that it's a whole rent by the whole place situation? Now they're like, you don't make enough money? Well, sorry, when she's been providing enough money in the first place?
Reassured my new roommates, you can leave at any time. Bail, please bail, save yourself. She's like, don't worry, my lease at my current place ends at the end of July, so I have time. I was like, oh, thank God. Not to mention, my roommate bamboozled me in the kitchen I've not spoken to her in person in a month. And you guys have like seen all of the messages. You've seen how she speaks to me. I haven't told you guys this. Messaged her like on Monday. I was like, can you send me photos of your room? And she was like, no, I'm not sending.
So the message says, can you send me photos of your room and the bathroom today? Also let me know if you're planning on taking the couch or wanting to leave it behind. Her roommate says, no, I will not be sending photos. Oh, I was informed that for my security deposit to be returned, the apartment must be vacant. Therefore, I will be removing all of my belongings, including the couch.
The photos. And then she was like, I'm uncomfortable with all this.
I also do not feel comfortable with continued back and forth texting and need that boundary respected. Please stop. That's strange. Sounds good. I'll have some people come view the apartment this week. Let me know if you'd like for me to give you a heads up. I'm going to check with and then she responds, I'm going to check with the landlord first to confirm the move out and deposit requirements. If they say the apartment needs to be completely vacant, I won't be allowing any showings or people. Wait, what do you mean she won't be allowing? Does she own the place?
Back and forth through text. I'm like, do you mean from a week ago when you last texted me? And I was like, sounds good. You want me to let you know when I have someone come view the place? I'm not going to be allowing anyone to be viewing the place. Sounds good. And then she fucking bamboozles me in the kitchen. EK, I just want to make sure like this timeline is okay. I'm trying to get the security deposit back. All of this is your fault.
She says, her roommate says, just an update, so no viewing of apartment as I want my deposit back. We both need to be out by the 30th. Wait, I just reread the email. Unless you find someone in time prior to the 30th, do you have anyone in mind or any leads? See, this is why communication is very important, especially when it comes to money, right? You want your money back? Help in the situation. You're moving out, replace yourself.
Changed your mind once, you changed your mind again. You went back and forth. Landlords have been shit with their communication, but you delaying shit is what started this domino effect. I was fighting so hard to not laugh. I started smiling and I was like, I'll let you know when I find someone. I'm on the phone right now and I gotta go. So, what's EK gonna do now? Well, not going to hear anything until at least Monday. I have a shop drop for Saturday that I have not planned anything for. Started prototyping shit last night, and it's really cute. I found a dollhouse. I made a video about that, so that's fun. Yeah, man, we're going to see how this fucking ends. I'm probably sharing way too much on social media, but y'all have seen the beginning, and now we have to see the end together. At least it's a nice day. I'll see you tomorrow, okay?
You don't have to share everything on social media. That would be all well and good, but EK's roommate found her account and was not happy that EK had been talking about her. Okay, so this is Marilyn. The roommate, the one who's moving out, this is her point of view of the whole
A
situation.
sublet I met about a month ago made a 30-part TikTok series about me, and I want to address a few things. We're gonna keep it short and straight to the point because 30? I genuinely don't know how any of this is my fault. You started subleasing a few weeks ago. A sublease is temporary by definition, meaning I don't owe you shit. You are not entitled just because you moved in. I feel like I gave you plenty of notice and time to make a
Okay, so I'm assuming Marilyn moves in, she sublets to EK. So she's like, I'm subletting, you're not the main person here, so if I move out, you've got to go. I think that's what she's saying.
arrangements so that when you re-sign the lease, you won't be stressed out. You even admitted that you found someone within a day. The real issue is that the rent increased and now you need to qualify for the lease yourself.
Oh.
And that is not my problem. That's just how New York renting goes. I feel like that's how renting goes in any state. You have moved 5 times within a year. At this point, babe, there's a common denominator and it's definitely not the people that you're
Whoops.
subleasing from. I feel like at this point it's you. Throughout all your videos, there was a consistency of you talking about me, about my situation, my bills, my pay stubs, my proof of income, when in reality, I have a job. I pay my bills on time. I even secured my new apartment. I think you're projecting what you're lacking onto me. I feel like what's genuinely crazy is I never wished anything bad upon you. I really do hope you get approved for this apartment with your new roommate. What sucks is that you made 30 videos about me consecutively, wishing bad upon me, saying I'm getting karma, calling me names, calling me out of my name.
Oh.
I don't even know you, babe, and you don't even know me. I just met you a month ago. Hello? I just feel like I'm getting dragged for choosing what's best for me in my future. She also started a GoFundMe. I'm gonna insert the GoFundMe right here so you can read it briefly. You didn't start a
Wait, okay, I'll read that after.
GoFundMe because you lost your job, you have medical expenses to take care of, or have hard times at this moment. You started a GoFundMe because you don't have the funds for the apartment, and instead of being honest about that, you're blaming me. People have asked you multiple times, why don't you get an actual job? And your response is always, I'm an artist. There is plenty of artists in New York City that still have regular jobs because
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, artist is a job, but any job is a job when you make money from it, right? So let's say when I started being an influencer, I was still being a makeup artist alongside that, and working alongside that in the evenings, doing my influencering YouTube videos in the evenings. So if you're really passionate about something that isn't providing you money in that moment, no matter what it is, whether it's being an artist, whether it's being a singer, it's something you have to work on until it matches at least the money you're making from your regular job,
they know
right?
rent needs to be paid at the end of the day. And instead of finding a job, you decide to basically scream, call me out of my name, say that I am a nightmare roommate, blaming me for not wanting to re-sign the lease with you, which is crazy. I feel like if you started a GoFundMe that said, I can't afford rent right now, that's one thing. But because you switched the narrative and basically stated you are trapped in a traumatized, abusive situation with your roommate because I'm
Uh,
choosing to leave is completely different. I feel like at some point you have to stop blaming other people for your circumstances that you are responsible for as a grown adult. And babe, you are 30 years old. You are a grown woman. Even I in my 20s understand the concept of how renting, how deposits, how moving, how all of
but shouldn't grown people be talking to each other face to face instead of over TikTok? Like, remember back in the day when if you had an issue, you could talk to each other. So don't anyone act like you're grown in this situation when you could be talking to each other instead of saying, respect my boundaries. Don't text me. This is all lack of communication. So communicate with each other. You live in the same fucking
that
apartment.
goes. If I can understand that and I take responsibility because I know the world doesn't owe me anything, I feel like you can do that as well. You're not getting evicted, you got the lease, and I'm moving out at the end of this month.
So you
And
still live
that's it.
together. Sorry, this is like dystopian. Imagine arguing with your roommate and instead of like talking to each other face to face, you make TikTok videos. Ugh. What have we done? What have we done to the world? We have a few comments here. Somebody says you're doing this in the same apartment, right? Right? Like, why are you just talking to each other, please? Someone says, I think the issue is you told her conflicting information. You said you would move it, then you said you would move, then last minute said you would stay. She was left scrambling. But why did you say you were moving and then change your mind? This person says, I feel like both of you were bad at communicating with each other. I completely agree. Refusing to send photos seemed petty. I do feel like there was no need for the 30 videos on her side. Yeah, that's crazy. And cursing you out, though. I wish both of you the best. New York is not the easiest place to live at, but hopefully everything works out. Yeah, I agree. I feel like I hear horror stories about people in New York, but communication was not anyone's strongest suit here. This one says they're all on your side on Reddit and they didn't even know who you were. Listen, Reddit isn't the best place to get that kind of, confirmation from. I died when she said the landlord emailed me, the leaseholder, and she was like, why wouldn't they email me about the rent increase, and called the landlords idiots. And I'm like, yo, you're subleasing. Why would you get that info? Yeah, it's like you're not officially there. Yeah, the red flag was her boundary was not speaking to you in person. Agreed. And somebody says, you handled yourself like a true New Yorker. She's tripping hard. Must be the no Wi-Fi. Then the creator, Marilyn, says, thank you. And girl, the way I'm holding back saying the whole truth. If only you knew. Tell us. Tell us. So there are some updates after this situation. One of the most fascinating, I think, comes from Marilyn's new roommate, where she is moving out to. I'm just going to pop this in here.
A 30-year-old woman has been having a public meltdown on TikTok for a month because my best friend and decided not to re-sign her lease so that she could move in with me. And this woman has somehow convinced a bunch of people to give her thousands of dollars by lying. So here's the scene. My best friend has been the leaseholder on an apartment for like 3 years. And her roommate moved out at the end of April and found a sublet, EK. So EK's moving in, it's May. The lease ends in June. Marlon lets her know, I'm not gonna be signing with you at all, okay? Like, you gotta either go or I'll find a new place and like you can try to take over this lease. A few weeks ago, Marlon finds a place in Manhattan with me and officially tells EK like, hey, I'm gonna be leaving. EK starts to crash out because they don't have a job. They sell keychains and they don't have like the pay stubs needed to qualify for an apartment. I'm inserting the GoFundMe. So she started a GoFundMe claiming the landlord is evil and that my friend put her in a horrible, traumatizing situation, although all my friend did was say I'm moving out. Started a GoFundMe saying my landlord is an evil slumlord. The landlord is like, hey, can you maybe qualify for the apartment? Like, hey, could you please send me a pay stub perchance? Like, the evil slumlords trying to remove me from my city. Your city? Baby, me and you both were from Georgia. We're from Georgia. You both also moved here less than a year ago. I moved here, I signed a lease, started to work so I could pay the bills. Don't start a GoFundMe lying on my friend, saying that she has put you in some horrible, traumatizing situation, lying on this landlord that is actually being extremely nice to you by, continuing to let you live there when you don't have the pay stubs and are probably not going to qualify for the apartment. He's actually giving you a chance to find someone to qualify for the apartment. You're not housing insecure. Someone is housing insecure when they work hard to make ends meet and the ends won't meet. You haven't tried to make ends meet. Let's go fill out a job application and let's go back to Georgia. Okay, baby girl?
York, if not, you're back up against the wall.
You don't represent Mom Donnie's words or New York at all. In New York City, we work. We're dreamers. So much of me and Marlon's friendships is literally us both grinding and hustling. When we got approved for our new apartment in Manhattan, it's more money. So you know what we both did? We took on extra work. Work is not above us. Some people can't work. Some people have medical problems. When my mom had cancer 2 years ago, she literally worked 2 jobs the entire time, through chemotherapy, through surgery, and still did not have enough money to pay for the medical bills. So we started a GoFundMe because actually our backs were up against the wall. I can see why you've had 6 subleases in 1 year, and honestly, this level of entitlement is just not gonna do you well in life. especially not in New York City.
All right. You know what? Good luck, everyone. Good luck to you, to everyone, to EK, to Marilyn, to EK, to your roommate, to Marilyn's good for you. Hope you have a best New York lives, whatever that looks like to you. Let me know your opinions down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up and hype if you still have some hypes available. Because don't they limit them? I don't know. And let me know any roommate horror stories you have. Oh my gosh. Feel free to type out the longest message you've ever written out in your life. And I'll see you very soon. Bye.